Good evening, and welcome to the Magic of the Metolius, a celebration of our beloved river and the ongoing effort to keep it wild. My name is Ben Gordon, and I'm the Executive Director of Central Oregon Land Watch, your local watchdog organization that defends and plans for Central Oregon's livable future. Land Watch does this by ensuring a balanced and intentional approach to development, guiding it where it belongs in our cities and towns that protects the land and water our community depends on. Our team of attorneys, planners, and advocates harness the power of Oregon's land use laws, policy innovation, and planning to meet this need with. A place where Land Watch's work comes sharply into focus is the Metolius River Basin. From halting timber sales to protecting the river with a wild and scenic designation, to legislation that made it Oregon's first and still only area of critical state concern, this place we all love so deeply would not be the tranquil and wild treasure it is today without the vigilant watchdog efforts you'll learn more about tonight. Speaking of tonight, here's what we have in store for you. Tonight's event, sort of like an old-time variety show, offers a little of everything. You're invited to participate in a silent auction that benefits Land Watch. You'll hear live music from local artist Aaron Cole Baker. You'll see video footage of the Metolius and hear interviews with Sheila Dunn, a painter who finds her inspiration in Central Oregon's most cherished landscapes, as well as Paul Dewey, Land Watch's founding executive director, who has been at the forefront of some of the biggest battles to protect the Metolius. We hope that tonight's event inspires you to deepen your resolve to support Land Watch's work. Up next, I'd like to invite Kavi Choksi, Land Watch's membership and engagement manager, to explain how the silent auction portion of tonight's event works.
Thanks, Ben. My name is Kavi Choksi, and as Land Watch's membership and engagement manager, I have the pleasure of introducing Land Watch's first virtual auction. The auction started with Sheila Dunn generously offering to create an original painting to support Land Watch's conservation work. We decided it would be fun to include a few other items at different price points to offer something for everyone. The generosity of local businesses, however, caught us by surprise, resulting in a large variety of items from 32 businesses and organizations worth more than $10,000 in total. A big thank you to all the businesses and individuals who donated towards our auction, thus ensuring that all proceeds go directly to our work to defend and plan for Central Oregon's livable future. Now, as you can imagine, I've been thinking about the auction quite a bit this past week. And when it first started, I was in it for the deals. And there's still a few left that I'll highlight later. But as time went on, I realized how meaningful it would be to win something from this auction. For example, whichever item I won would be imbued with meaning and significance. And whether it was a one-time memorable experience with loved ones or an item I would pass by every day, I know personally I would reflect on it with joy, seeing it as a tangible sign of my support for Land Watch and its work to protect this beautiful place we call home. When has buying something for yourself or a loved one ever felt this good? I wanted to share that as we go through the night and as you decide whether to bid on an item or not, especially when it's at or above its market value, if there's one listed. Consider the additional meaning it will have for you. Okay, now that I've shared the why and the what, I want to take a minute to share the how. So Corey will share the steps for bidding in the auction in the chat right now, and I'll cover it briefly. We're using a platform, Air Auctioneer, that makes this extremely easy, no matter if you're on a computer, laptop, tablet, or phone. So for many of you, if you've already registered for the auction, I know some of you have gotten bids in there. You can go click the first link that Corey shared and directly go to the auction site and look at all the items. But if you haven't, then Corey also shared the steps to register and bid. So there's a couple steps there. The first one will basically, you'll be able to register for it. And the most important part of that, if you are registering, if you haven't participated in the auction yet, is that you will have to put in your email and password, and then you'll get an email where you'll get a verification link, and you'll just have to click that before you can start bidding. I promise it's pretty simple, but Corey is on standby throughout the night to help with any questions or issues. So feel free to ask any questions in chat. With that, let me share my screen and show you what the auction looks like. Right. Okay, so this is the auction page. So the first thing you're seeing is you're seeing many of the different items. If you're seeing a different display, there's a couple different ways to kind of sort and see all the items. So the small icons, large icons, but there's some beautiful items, as you can see. So when you click the link for our auction, which Corey shared in chat, this is the page you'll see first. From here, you can scroll down and you can view all the items. So you may start up over here. And if so, you can just go down and see all the items. For bidding, you have the option to place an exact bid or place a max bid. So I'll give you an example right here. So there's two options. You can do a max bid or you can do an exact bid. If you already have a max amount that you're willing to bid for an item, we recommend placing a max bid, which will automatically keep bidding for you if anyone outbids you. This will save you time and help make sure you can win the items you want, especially if you're bidding on multiple items and as we get closer to the finish. On that note, the auction ends at 7 p.m. So make sure you get all your bids in by then. With all that out of the way, let's check out a few of our auction items and experiences. So the first one I'm going to show, which is the star of our auction, is Sheila Dunn's original gorgeous painting, the Metolius. 24 by 36, oil on canvas, and specifically created for Landwatch. This vibrant painting is both a beautiful and meaningful work of art. It also just happens to be Sheila Dunn's favorite place on earth. So this is how it will look for you when you're looking at the items. You can read a little bit more about it. There's some beautiful photos of the painting as well. And then this is the exciting part right here. Here are all the bids. So as you can see right now, Christy Payne is currently leading the way. We will check back in during the next update to see if that's still true. So if any of you are interested in the painting, now's the time to get in there. The next one I want to highlight is also with Sheila Dunn. This is Sheila's generous offer to paint the Metolius with a plein air session. The winning bidder on this right now is Jesse Rosenzweig. So is anyone going to challenge him for this once in a lifetime opportunity to get a guided paint lesson on the Metolius River with none other than artist Sheila Dunn? And then the last two excursions I want to highlight fairly quickly. The first one is the Cascade Lakes guided fishing trip. So this one is a steal right now. The actual value of this item, as you can see, is 600 and it's currently at 440. So I know there's some of you out there who are looking at this and just thinking this is a great way to spend a day. Right now, Graham Zimmerman is a top lead bidder, but as you can see, there's quite a few names here. So I wonder if any of these are going to be in the top next time I give you an update on this. And the very last one for this update is going to be the drift boat float onto the chutes. So I know it's getting cold out there right now, but imagine yourself in spring or summer of next year on a nice warm day. Can you think of anything more enjoyable than drifting the chutes on an easy and fun day float? Beginning at Warm Springs and floating to Trout Creek in a drift boat with Landwatch's board member, Jesse Rosenzweig, it's all inclusive to boot. They don't call him Swig for nothing. Okay, with that, I'll wrap up the first round of auction item previews. Throughout our event tonight, there will be opportunities during the music to bid on items without missing any of the fun. If you have any questions, Corey will be helping out in chat. I now have the pleasure of passing it off to Caitlin, our Communications and Outreach Manager, who will lead us into this entertaining night. Caitlin.
Thanks, Covey. I am excited to introduce you to our musical guest this evening. In just a few moments, we're going to take a virtual trip to the Metolius River and see some of the renowned turquoise waters while we hear from Paul Dewey, Central Oregon Landwatch's founder, and his story of the ongoing efforts to protect the Metolius River Basin that began nearly 4 decades ago. But first, tonight, we are joined by our lovely musical guest, Erin Cole Baker. And while Erin originally hails from New Zealand, she's a singer-songwriter who calls Central Oregon home. She and her family have hopped back and forth between New Zealand and Bend, and most recently, their move back to the States in 2019 began with a 7-month road trip in an RV around the West. So while life on the road has its perks, we're happy to have Erin back in town. And like many of us, Erin is drawn to this region by a deep love for the beauty of the mountains and the peace that she feels there. So Erin is often rocking an electric guitar and a full band, but for this evening, we get to hear her acoustic set. So Erin, thank you so much for giving us a virtual concert this evening, and I will hand it off to you.
Thanks, Caitlin. The song is called Prairie Grass.
Thanks, Erin. That was lovely. We are going to get to hear a couple more songs from Erin this evening, so stay tuned. Well, now, since we all can't be together in person on the magical Metolius River this evening, we'll do the next best thing. So for the next few minutes, we're going to take a video tour of the turquoise waters, guided by the one and only Paul Dewey.
Walking this trail 10 years from now, I would like to see just a few people on the trail, kind of like it is now, and people who are appreciative of the place, who aren't trying to change it. The cold, clear water, I mean, it's amazingly cold, clear water. And we're facing a drought cycle, maybe permanent in the West. And places like the Metolius that are spring-fed, that are more resilient than other places, are just going to become more important. So I hope we continue to protect it. My name is Paul Dewey. I'm the founder and former executive director of Central Oregon Land Watch. On this little tour of the Metolius we're going to take, first we're going to go to an area that's really special. It's a spring flowing into the river, and someone asked me, well, what's its name? It has no name. It's going to be a loud, hard-flowing river. What makes the Metolius Basin special is actually right behind me. It's the hydrology, the geology, and the resulting incredible habitat and scenery that results from it. It's incredibly cold, pure water that is habitat for species that are dying out elsewhere, such as bull trout. It's historically also been incredibly important to the indigenous peoples who have lived here, now represented by the three tribes, the Warm Springs tribes. We began our work with Landwatch in this area, we're in our fourth decade. And what prompted our work initially was all the cutting of the old growth trees in the Metolius. And though we succeeded in stopping the cutting of the old growth trees, it took 2 decades. And so the struggle over the past 40 years in particular has been keeping the Metolius as it was to the greatest extent possible. During the 1980s, Landwatch appealed a number of timber sales in the Metolius, and we started discovering not only that the Forest Service was cutting down the old growth trees, but it looked like they weren't even following their own rules and regulations. And we hired wildlife biologists from Oregon State University to come over and survey whether or not the Forest Service was leaving the number of wildlife trees they were to leave, or whether they were keeping logging outside of riparian areas, and whether or not they were doing the road closures they said they were going to do. And the researchers found a failure rate of the Forest Service somewhere between 70 and 100% of all units. Because of the severity of the problem, we decided to go file a lawsuit in federal district court around 1990, alleging a pattern and practice of violation of environmental laws. And though we ended up settling the case, probably the greatest importance of the case was that it helped persuade the Forest Service that the Metolius was not a place for them to get out the cut. It was a place to be protected for recreation. And within a couple of years, the mindset of the Forest Service changed dramatically to protecting, well, actually wildlife biologists and ecologists started coming in to be the rangers rather than timber people. So it was a real watershed moment in 1990. One of the greatest successes of Landwatch in protecting the Metolius has been our work for the bull trout. It's a threatened species. It depends on very cold water and really a majestic species. The Forest Service wasn't treating it like that. They, at one point, one of their recreation managers said that these are just Dolly Varden and you can go to North Carolina and see Dolly Varden. We prevailed on that issue, and true fisheries biologists from the Forest Service came in. And now this population is one of the healthiest, if not the healthiest, repository of the species in the West. In addition to bringing a lawsuit against the Forest Service, Landwatch and others felt that what was really needed was greater protection of the Metolius across the board. And so we began what we called the Save the Metolius campaign. And it was aimed at stopping the logging of the old growth trees, protecting the bull trout and other species, and stopping an incredible recreation plan that we dubbed Disneyland in the Pines, where the Forest Service was going to be building more bridges across the river, more campgrounds. And we won that battle, and we won even more than we were trying to win in some respects, because the Forest Service decided that the true measure for protecting an area is determining the carrying capacity of the area. And they determined in 1990, the early 1990s, that the Metolius had reached its carrying capacity. So no additional development should be done in this area. In the 2000s, the area was threatened again, but this time by private development. And it wasn't just a little private development, it was 2 big destination resorts that could have hundreds and hundreds of people, if not 1,000 additional people in or nearby the Metolius. We fought this on several fronts. First, legally challenging Jefferson County's attempt to approve these resorts. And for that, we lost at Jefferson County. We lost at the Land Use Board of Appeals. We lost at the Oregon Court of Appeals. And then we went to the Oregon Supreme Court and did a petition for review, which is not often granted by the court. But in raising our water issues and the need to protect the area, they accepted review. That was critical, not only because it looked like they were at least inclined to look at our case, but it gave the legislature the ability to pass a law to protect the area, because there were no vested rights, no approvals had been granted. It was still an open question, and so the legislature in 2009, by one vote, voted to protect this area as an area of critical statewide concern, the only such designation in the state. And that has protected the Metolius from destination resort development or any development that would deplete the water resources of the area. One of the nicest parts about my career as an attorney is that I represented for a number of years the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs. And their outlook on protecting areas and their fights to maintain their sovereignty, I think should be copied by us. And the idea is fights, true fights, the most important ones are those that last for generations. No one generation should be expected to protect an area. It has to be passed on from one generation to another, to another, to another. It may take 100 years, and in defending a place, it will take forever. And so people need to understand that something as beautiful as this was protected over the past 100 years, over the past 1,000 years. And it's important that the future generations do the same. Probably the greatest threat to the Metolius in the future will be a death by 1,000 cuts. We've stopped the big logging, we've stopped the big resorts, but incrementally, counties like Jefferson County like development because that creates more property taxes for them. And with population growth in the area, more and more people want to move here. They want a special place to be. And the biggest challenge for Landwatch and other groups who want to protect the Metolius is to let it be. Let the Metolius just be as it is, as it was, and enjoy it for what it is, and stop trying to change it. It's a place that shouldn't be changed.
Thanks so much for going on that tour with us. If you haven't been out there in person, now is a great time to go. The fall scenery is just beautiful. So with that, I want to hand it over. It seemed like in the chat there was some Birkenstock drama happening. So I'm going to hand it over to Covey for a quick auction update. And then we'll hear another song and then talk with Sheila Dunn. So Covey, take it away. Oh, I also wanted to share for everyone who RSVP'd for this event, I will also share a video recording of that that piece of the Metolius too. I know some people wanted to see that again. So with that, Covey, give us an update.
Hello from Auction Central. So the first thing I just want to reiterate what Caitlin mentioned regarding a recording of this being available. I know some of you seemed a little busy with the bidding and may have missed parts of the video. So if you do want to catch it later, you'll still have a chance. That was such a captivating video, and that's just some really beautiful footage too. I only saw the Metolius for the first time fairly recently, actually, and it's such a magical place. So with that in mind, let's start this auction update with 2 options to bring the beauty of the Metolius to your home. And let me first share my screen. Zoom live. Okay. So we'll first go to, once again, the Metolius, the original painting by Sheila Dunn. As you may have seen, the bid it's on right now is a little higher than it was before. Let's see who's the top bidder right now. Ooh, Christy Payne is still the top bidder. New Sun Energy got in there with some bids. We got 2 bids there, but Christy matched those and is still the leader. So if anyone else still wants to get in, I don't know if New Sun Energy is here and paying attention, but there's still some time. Let's see how much time we're at. We're at 57 minutes. So there's your chance to get this painting. We'll be covering this again at the next update as well. And I just want to say a little bit more about the painting too. So everyone who has seen it so far has agreed that it's a beauty. Can you imagine having this in your home? Let me show you again. There it is. Can you imagine having this in your home or gifting it to someone and not only appreciating the beauty of the painting, but also knowing your purchase supported both a local artist and one of the leading groups that help protect this beautiful place? I can't think of a more meaningful piece of art. So we'll check back in for the painting for one last update. But if you're like me and the painting is not exactly in your budget, the next best thing is being able to purchase a signed print. So I'm going to show you that right now. We have the $50 size listed in our auction. 56 minutes. You can see it's turning red now. We're running out of time. This is a beautiful print as well. So this is the next best thing. I know it's not the painting. The painting's really beautiful. It's right behind Caitlin over there. But this is the next best thing. So this is one of the sizes that's available as a print. It's for $50. And you can buy it directly from the auction site. But if you are interested in other sizes, you can also click this link here and go to the Etsy page for Sheila and check out all the different sizes that are available as well. So there's two options there. It's a gorgeous and it's a signed print as well. The next thing I'll do is I'll actually highlight a few of the steals and also kind of see where the energy is going. So I don't know if all of you had a chance to check out the bid monitor. This is showing all the most recent bids. Ooh, New Sun Energy with a new bid, 2,900. Take that, Christy. Are we gonna see 3,000? Let's see. We also have some other bids on the Paint the Metolius. Jesse is still the leader there too. New Sun Energy seems involved in a couple of these items. So let's see how it ends. All right, some of the other items I wanted to highlight real quick. Wine for the year. I think this one is still a steal right now. This is 12 bottles of wine, just lovely Oregon winery, a sample, a variety of some of Oregon's best wines, and 12 bottles. So for a whole year, I know we have some wine fans here, and that is still at $240. So there's still some time. There's 55 minutes. That's one of the items I want to highlight. I also want to highlight this one. I think this one is still a steal. I think if you added these items together, I think it's at least 300 plus, but I mean, there's also the emotional, sentimental value of having a backpack that every time you use it, you can just remember great memories of this event and supporting Landwatch. So that's another item that's still there. And then one more. This one has been one of the most exciting items and also surprising items. So this is a private group sky tour at Pine Mountain Observatory, up to 15 people. You can basically invite every person you know and have a party out there. And this one is right now at $910. There's even an update from Dr. Scott Fisher, who I think is attending right now, who has basically offered to personally lead the tour and basically give you the full VIP experience. So this one has been surprising because we've had some people really in this fight. So right now, New Sun Energy is the leading bidder. But there's still some time. And then the last one is the Yogi set. So this, just to give a wide range of all the items we have for this auction, this one I think is also still a steal. So you get a 10 class package at the Yoga Lab. That by itself is $140 value. As you can see, the current bid is $140. Plus, you also get a Metolius tea package, a $76 value as well. So this is another great, it's a great time to get into yoga season too. It's getting too cold to be outside. You can stay in, have some tea, and go to some yoga classes. So those are some of the updates. I will check back in with the next update soon. And I think, am I passing it back off to you, Caitlin, or directly to Aaron?
Let's hear from Aaron. Aaron's going to give us another musical interlude.
And I'm doing two songs, right?
Yes.
Okay, two songs. song is called Down South. Drove all the way down south. We went till our knuckles froze. Oh, how the skies they bloomed. Roads turning into lines. You've got to drive up to see it in your eyes. And we've got years to throw off all these fears and be free. We passed unfamiliar signs, picking apples beside the road. And oh, how our spirits soar, camping out near the riverbed. You've got to drive, I love to see it in your eyes. And we've got years to throw off all these fears and be free. Whoa, oh, you've got to drive, I love to see it in your eyes. And we've got years to throw off all these fears and be free. We cooked out by firelight. The morning we knew our way. And oh, how the land it grew into veins of my beating heart. Oh, 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 That's funny. I'm dog sitting at the moment. I don't know if you could see the dog jumping up on the couch. Oh, good times. Okay, this song is a newer song. It's called Earthquake. Side window, becoming the
Thanks, Erin. We're all air clapping or air fingering over here. That was lovely.
Thank you.
We'll hear one more final song from Erin a little bit later this evening. But last but not least, I'm excited to introduce our final guest for this evening. If you haven't met Sheila Dunn, you've likely seen her artwork, and if not, you've seen her artwork behind me this evening. So Sheila created this original oil painting behind me to celebrate the Metolius. And before we hop into that interview, I wanted to share a really short 2-minute video with you all of Sheila from earlier this summer when she was working on this painting. I think it's really fun to kind of see the work in progress. And then we'll dive into a few questions and talk with Sheila about her process as an artist. So with that, here's the creation story.
I remember the first time I went to the Metolius and I was just awestruck. I think there are very few places in the world as beautiful and pristine and sacred, really. I would go out there every time my mom visited. We'd go out together, and it's her favorite place in the whole area. When we were walking out there one time, we ran into this fly fisherman. He's fished all over the world. And he said, "This is my favorite river in the whole world." It's just such a special place. I feel like if you've been there, you know it. My name is Sheila Dunn, and I'm a painter here in Bend, Oregon. I think my work is really informed by my environment, and so I choose to paint kind of the places that I love, the people I love. I was starting to feel this real strong pull of like, how do I help protect these places that I love? And I felt a little bit initially like powerless as an artist, because I'm like, that's not in my vein. But then I'm like, well, no, why can't it be? And so I got this idea. I'm like, what if I paint these places that inspire me, that inform my relationship with the world, and then give back to like people and organizations who are actually dedicating their lives to that. When I first found out about Landwatch's work, it felt so crucial and like timely. The work Landwatch is doing is imperative to the future of Central Oregon and has had a huge role in like shaping the past. I feel like we're at this junction in our community where we have a choice that's really important. Are we going to protect these places that make Central Oregon what it is? Are we gonna continue to grow as a community in a way that supports everyone? When I found out about Landwatch's work, it just felt like this great partnership and something I would love to support.
Hello, Sheila.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
I'm excited to talk.
A little funky now, but
Oh,
it'll work.
it looks great. We're just dealing with sunsets earlier and earlier. So I have a couple of questions to ask you, and yeah, just about your experience as an artist. And for folks watching, I'm sure you've seen Sheila's artwork around town. So you've got your artwork, it's up in coffee shops, art galleries, people send your note cards around the country, and people's homes and restaurants. And I think that's really interesting. I know, some artists have a small portfolio that they create, and that is not you. When you create a lot. So my question for you is, what's the driving force behind that, and what motivates you to create?
So I feel like creating has been like very innate in me ever since I was little. And at the risk of sounding cliche, it's just something I can't imagine my life without. I think painting is how I help to make sense of the world, how I process my emotions, how I navigate being human, which is sometimes challenging, especially last couple of years. It's been interesting. So, and I don't want to like glamorize being an artist too much, because a lot of it is just day-to-day grind work, but when I am painting, it just feels like a soul level thing that I kind of have to do to be in this world. So
that's a good answer. So I had the chance earlier this summer to come into your studio and watch you while you were working on the Metolius. And I think it's really fun to see that process and to see, especially how in your work there, it's like layers on layers and you kind of like keep building and the image is growing more complex. And so I'm curious, when do you know when to stop? When to you is a painting done?
I feel like that's $1 million question. And I've joked with other artist friends before that I feel like we all need someone in our studios to like rip the paintbrush out of our hand, like physically, before we overwork a painting. So I guess the truest answer for me now is I stop painting before I feel comfortable stopping painting. So it's been an evolving process. I'm always on the edge of discomfort of like, I don't think this is done, but there's some kind of essence, I think, to the first layers and the beginning stages of a painting that it's impossible to replicate if you overwork it. And so I'll just try to remind myself while I'm painting to just step away before I feel comfortable stepping away. So
I see the coyote behind you.
Yeah, he's kind of washed out. Yeah.
Is it too soon to step away from this one?
I feel like I have friends who would say step away now, but he's definitely still in the works. But I think I'm gonna leave him pretty minimal. So yeah.
So I thought of this question earlier of asking you, where are you from? I think that's a pretty typical question, especially in Central Oregon. People are always asking, where are you from? Because this region has changed so much. And I think it's always a strange question because very few of us are from a specific place because people are complex and that's not a new thing. People for millennia have migrated and moved, and movement is a part of, I think, our humanness. So rather than get any more into that question, we are from many places or influenced by many places. And I see that in your landscapes and how these different landscapes resonate with you. And there's really this sense of home that comes from many different places. So it's clear in your work that I see that you are really influenced by a sense of belonging to different landscapes. So would you speak a little bit to this is like a strange philosophical question, but I guess the material part of it is, what do you choose to paint and what do these landscapes mean to you as an artist?
So I think I'm a bit of a inspiration sponge where I get inspiration from so many places, but in terms of specifically landscape, I grew up in northern Colorado, right near the Rocky Mountains. And I kind of look back at my childhood as a little bit like free range. We were free range kids with my cousins being out in the hills and mountains. And, I even think back to high school, I was so much more comfortable in the woods, camping or climbing than I was with organized sports. It's just always been in my blood and in my bones. And I moved to Bend 12 years ago, completely sight unseen. I'd never been here. But so much of my desire to move here was informed by the land and the landscape. And it's been more than I could have even dreamed. It's that the land in terms of diversity and access is so unique in Central Oregon. It's really special. So yeah, that's translated to painting those places and also really focusing on an effort and hoping to help protect them at the same time. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Does that answer it?
Yeah, I think so. Well, let's talk about a specific place. I know tonight we're really geeking out on the Metolius. So let's talk about it. A few months ago, you talked about how much this area meant to you and Joel. And I wanted to know if you'd mind sharing your story and your connection with the Metolius with us and what draws you to this place.
So I feel like Paul articulated that so beautifully and perfectly. Also, thank you, Paul. Oh my God, I can't imagine like a resort on the Metolius. It seems like sacrilegious, but for me, like the first time I was at the Metolius, it was that feeling of being awestruck. It's like I said in the video, it's so pristine. I feel like there are very few places, rivers included, that feel totally wild and that have that element still. And Metolius is one of those places. And like I also mentioned in the video, it's a place that my mom and I love to go together every time she's here. And my husband and I also love the Metolius, and he grew up ever since he was a baby going there with his family. So it's a really special place to him too. Yeah, I love it so much.
I feel like if people haven't seen the Metolius and see this painting, they assume that there's like an exaggerated color or saturation in this water. And it's not, it's an accurate depiction.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So in kind of thinking about rivers, and not to overplay the metaphor, but rivers are constantly in motion, and we got to see some footage earlier of kind of the swirling, tempestuous river. And there's this sort of essence of shifting and fluidity that comes with like learning from fluid and evolving spaces. So here's where we get the metaphor extension. How have you evolved as an artist, and how has your practice changed over time?
So I'd say in college, my work was really focused on figure series, like figure paintings with a really strong like personal element, or even autobiographical, if you could call paintings that. It was very internal and reflective. And then like probably, it was 2016, I started to have this feeling of needing to broaden my lens and start to use my art as a form of activism to whatever extent I could. And so I went from kind of this really internal, personal focus to broader, like painting the places I love and that I want protected. And then also, people present and historically who've been incredible catalyst for social justice and social change. So I think that's one of the biggest ways my work has transformed, is kind of widening that lens and trying to move just beyond myself as a single individual and kind of have a more whatever impact I can on the broader scale. So
that's good. I don't know if it's an actual quote or just a feeling, but I feel like everyone says that no social movements are successful without good art. And I think that that's true.
Oh, I've heard that.
Yeah, it's where we get our best music. And I don't know,
Love that.
So yeah, it's a good thing to hold on to. Well, on that, this is my last question, and it's about that sort of creative spirit. So here in Central Oregon, we're surrounded by so many creative voices. There's artists like yourself, but we also have so many local storytellers and musicians. This region is full of world-renowned photographers and writers and poets, and even, people that aren't professional artists that are kind of driven by the sense to create. So do you have any advice to leave us with for folks who are maybe artists or anyone inspired to create?
So this is not going to be like the most romantic answer, but I feel like I liken like creativity to exercising in this way of like, in exercising, there's like muscle memory, and there's just getting out and like showing up and doing it. And at least like, this is a personal thing for like my own creative practice. I don't paint every day because I feel inspired to paint every day. Like I paint every day because I show up and do it. And like sometimes I'll just tell myself, oh, I don't feel like painting, so I'm gonna clean off my palette. And I think even just that act of showing up is like half the battle. or over half the battle. And so I would say, it doesn't have to be every day, but just, it's just showing up. And I think a big thing for me as a creative is like overcoming this perfectionistic tendency of needing it to be perfect and just letting it be what it is. So those have been a couple big things for me as an artist. So yeah.
Great answer.
Exercising the creative muscles. I know it's so true. So
I think it's better advice than, it's encouraging to know that showing up is the first thing. Because even if you're not good at what you do, I can show up. I can show up to something.
Yeah. And even if it's like 15 minutes, it doesn't have to be long, so.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening, and even for more than that, for your work with us over this season, and kind of amplifying the story of the Metolius and your work on this painting. We really appreciate it, and keep doing the same work that you're doing, because it's great and we love it. So
thank you, and back at you with all of that. So it's really inspiring. Thank you, Caitlin.
I am going to hand it off for our last auction update to Covey to let us know how it's going, before we hear one final piece from Aaron and wrap up this evening. Covey, give us our final update.
Woohoo! Wow. So I think some of you may have noticed that I'm like sitting in a different spot now, because we have a fitness studio below our office, and there's a full-on party going on in our office right now. So I wasn't sure if you would be able to hear me, but it definitely got me pumped up for this last part of the auction. What's the time? What are we at? Oh, we're at 28 minutes and 50 seconds. I like how it's on the seconds now. It's still red, so we still got 28 minutes. The first thing I just want to say is, after that amazing interview, and just listening to Sheila's answers and getting a chance to get to know her, which I think for many of us may have been the first time. And that way, how can you not want the painting and just everything else Sheila creates? I really wish if there's a benefactor there who wants to pitch in for me for the painting, I am totally game. I don't know if there's any conflicts of interest working for Landwatch, but I'm totally in it for the painting too. Just the cash is a little bit of an issue. Let's check in with what items are getting the most bids right now. So I'm going to share my screen again. This always takes longer. You'd think I would get used to this at some point. All right. Okay, we've had quite a couple of new items come in there, including chai making with Covey. I wonder what that item's about. But before I get into that, the first big news I want to share is the painting has hit 3,000. Oh my God! Let's see who's the winner. Any guesses? Any guesses? Oh, New Sun Energy is the top bidder right now. Christy is second. I feel like they just keep alternating. This is going to be really close. We got 27 minutes and 19 seconds. Who's going to win this? I don't know. I feel like we need to do a poll at some point, Caitlin. Can we arrange that before the Zoom ends? I don't know if we can do that on the fly. Okay, probably not. I'm putting Caitlin in an uncomfortable spot right there. Let's check out some of the other items. I'm really curious who wins this painting. I'm sure we all are. I think we'll have to announce this in our email for sure afterwards if this event ends too early. But there's still some time. So Christy, if you're watching, you got 26 minutes and 47 seconds. So this is going to be a very memorable painting. If you win this, can you imagine? You can tell everyone you beat New Sun Energy right to the wire. That's so great. All right. Let's check out some other items too. The next one that just keeps blowing my mind is the private group sky tour at Pine Mountain Observatory. The sky is literally the limit for this one. I hope you see what I did there. Let's see who's winning this one. Ooh, New Sun Energy for this one too. Wow, that's two big ones. Lynn Dorsey is also there. So Lynn, if you're watching, you still have a chance. And I feel like this one increases. Oh yeah. So there's still some time for this one too. And we have a couple other people in there too. This is amazing. I have to say, this is the one that I had least expected to get this high. This is just amazing. It is a very amazing place. I don't know if all of you have had the chance to go to Pine Mountain Observatory. It's just a beautiful incredible place. If you like the dark sky and the night sky, it's just an incredible place to go check out. So there's still some time for this one. There's a couple contenders, so I'm curious to see how this one ends too. All right, the next one, the drift boat float. We've seen some bids since the last update. Right now, it seems like there's 3 people who are in the kind of competing for it. We got Kathy Flanagan right now in the lead, but we got Tierney, I hope I pronounced that correctly, sorry, and Karen right behind. So there's still some time for this one. And I think it might be going back and forth for this one too. Just, you know, this is just an amazing, this is just going to be an amazing day. And did you catch my reference about, you know, having the chance to go with board member Jesse Rosenzweig? And, you know, it's all inclusive once again, hint, hint. All right. And then, not to toot my own horn, but I had to include this. I think there was rationale for including it. See, there's a couple bids here. So it is one of the hot items, but you get to learn chai making with yours truly. This is a traditional Indian chai. This is something I make every morning, and many of my coworkers have had the privilege to try some of this at many of our staff meetings. But it includes freshly grated ginger, freshly ground cardamom, and wonderful aromatic spices. I will bring all of the ingredients for you. So all you got to do is enjoy, and it can be just yourself or it can be a group as well. So that's another item I want to put the spotlight on. And I'm going to check one more time on the bid monitor just to see if there's any new bids. Ooh, there's a $500 bid. And I think that's where it's at. Okay, let me switch back. It stops sharing my screen. Okay. So there's one more thing I actually wanted to do. I'm going to share my screen again. Thanks for your patience. Great. So one thing I don't think I've really mentioned throughout this auction is that there is another opportunity to participate in the auction as well. So if you've all been looking at all these items, just wishing you could get in there, but some of them are getting out of reach, there is another way, and that is by buying a wine or restaurant gift card raffle. So at only $10 a pop, you can afford to try your luck at winning a nice bottle of wine or a gift card for a night out, while knowing all proceeds go towards Landwatch. It's one of the easiest ways to participate in a night if you aren't able to compete with some of the other bidders on an item. So I'll just show you that real quick, and let me see. So this is a lovely auction page. Again, wow, look at that total. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. That's just incredible. All right. So here's the wine raffle. I'll just show you that real quick so you can kind of see the wines we have. So you have an amazing chance to win one of these nice bottles of wine, $10 a pop. And there's still a few remaining. So if you haven't had a chance to participate in this auction so far, here's a great way to participate and also possibly win a great bottle of wine that you can celebrate. And just think about how good that wine will taste, knowing that you were able to contribute towards Metolius. All right, with that, I think I have shared everything I need to, and I'll hand it back over to Caitlin.
Thanks. And I am going to hand it back over to Aaron. And Aaron's going to play our final song for this evening, and then we'll have Ben close us out. Aaron, let's hear your lovely voice one more time.
All right. The song is called Favorite Places, and I wrote it. I have a lovely Fender Jazzmaster guitar with a whammy bar on it. And yeah, I wrote the song on that, but this is my first time trying it out on the acoustic, but I thought it was kind of appropriate for this evening. Yeah, being called Favorite Places. Mountains could look good on you.
places have their way. I hope you move your body like you deserve. If you can't hold your head up, allow yourself to be a child. Favorite places always know. Truly put away all you think you are. Favorite places have their way. Searching for somewhere to land, a place to call your own. It's hard to split the difference. Too deep, feel so alone. Favorite places always know. Truly put away all you think you are. Favorite places have their way.
It's usually the point where I've put on all my pedals and things are going crazy. Not tonight.
Erin, before we say goodbye to you, do you want to let us know if you have an upcoming show that people could attend?
On Sunday, we'll be playing outside for Roots Festival. Outside the box factory there, one of the breweries, in the car park, there'll be a tent set up. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. I'm going to hand it over to Ben.
All right. Hey, Erin, not to put you on the spot, but you did have another song in you, not quite yet. Would love it if you would play. Let me give a quick update. So we're getting to the end of our presentation. We thought we'd wrap by 7 o'clock, but our auction has heated up so significantly. We have these coming down to the wire competing bids, and we would love to stay on the line together until that 7 o'clock deadline when bidding comes to a close so we can announce the winners of some of our heated battles. So I'm going to share a few remarks, and then Erin, if you're up for playing another tune, which would be amazing, that should kind of blend us perfectly to that 7 o'clock spot. And then, yeah, for everybody who maybe wants to grab another drink or grab a bite to eat, we'll have a few minutes pause between Erin's last song and 7 o'clock when we announce winners. So anybody who wants to stay on the line, we invite you to, and the bidding can continue. So I've got a few closing remarks that I've scripted, but beforehand, I would love to acknowledge some of my incredible teammates. I want to say a giant thank you to Caitlin, to Covey, and to Corey, our development team, who worked so hard to pivot this event, which was going to be live in person on the Metolius. We sort of fell into that dangerous space of not being sure of what was coming with the Delta variant and whether we could hold an event in person, even if people were vaccinated. And so we decided that we would pivot and move it to a virtual format. Obviously, as you all know, virtual formats don't just happen, they take a lot of work. And so I want to acknowledge Caitlin's incredible videography skills, her interviewing of Sheila, amazing work there, and Covey, who basically cut this auction from whole cloth. We had no experience running an auction. Covey had none. It was incredible. So big thanks to both of them and to Corey for all the support. So from the whole team, just want to pass that on to you, to Caitlin, Covey, and Corey. Great work tonight. So for everyone, as our time together draws to a close, we'll have another song, we'll have a little chill time, but these remarks are relevant now. We hope that you walk away with a renewed appreciation for the Metolius River and a better understanding of how Landwatch defends and plans for Central Oregon's livable future. We'll have plenty of other opportunities through our emails and upcoming events for you to deepen your understanding and appreciation for that work. Certainly sorry we couldn't have this event take place just steps away from the Metolius as originally planned. But we do encourage everyone to make another trip to this awe-inspiring piece of our landscape. See and experience it for yourself as often as you can. If you head out soon, you'll catch the tamarack groves in their golden fall foliage, not to be missed. And as you picked up on, because for those of you who have been bidding, this has been a tremendous community effort. We can't thank our community partners enough. I believe, Caitlin, if you have a slide of our sponsors, that would be terrific to throw up. So we have, I believe we had 32 different local businesses and individuals contribute to tonight's auction. And you can read the list. It's exhaustive just to see how many incredible businesses stepped up to donate their time, donate their talent, donate their products, which we've been able to put to great use fundraising for Landwatch, thanks to all of you and your generosity. So it's kind of full circle here. So in addition to all of our community partners, want to give a special thanks to Sheila Dunn, who is just such an amazing asset in our community. We are so fortunate to have you looking out for and supporting us. So thank you, Sheila. We just feel so grateful that you've decided to share your talents and passionate energy with us, and that you really appreciate the work that Landwatch does. So for everyone duking it out in our silent auction, just a reminder, your winning bids do go to support Landwatch. Not sure if you should throw in one more bid, that one last bid. Well, if you're not sure, just think about the Metolius, the work that goes into keeping it wild, then ask yourself again, is it worth it? Hopefully the answer will be there for you. So on behalf of the entire team, just a giant thanks. So from here, Aaron, if you're still with us, if we could get another song from you, that would be terrific. And then we'll be pretty close to finding out who the winners are. So how about it, Aaron? Thank you.
Okay, I'm vacillating between what song to do now. Okay. This one, I'm gonna do Sleeping Dogs. Right, free bird.
Can we please just let sleeping dogs lie? Sleeping dogs lie. Ooh. to be you. My timing's a bit off, yes, it's true. All of this trauma, I try not to buy it, but I just gotta let sleeping dogs lie. Sleeping dogs lie. How long? How long? How long? How long? How long? How long? Just gotta let sleeping dogs lie. Just need to let sleeping dogs lie. Oh, I just have to let sleeping dogs lie. Oh, how long? How long? How long? How long? How long?
Yow. That was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was terrific. Kaylin, what you got?
That was so lovely. I know we've watched a couple of different videos this evening. I have one more video to share with you. It's a short video that's really interesting. It is from the late 80s, and it is a documentary that was produced to raise awareness in the late 80s for the logging around the Metolius, on the Metolius Wendigo Trail. So I wanted to share that with you tonight. It's really interesting to look at some of this footage and look at the forest then and look at the forest today and understand that these efforts and images from the 80s led us to the Metolius that we saw this evening. And you'll be happy to know that with 7 minutes and 25 seconds left for the auction, this video will end roughly 2 minutes before the end, so we can really celebrate those final bits rolling in. So with that, I will share this with you now.
Over here on the dry side of Oregon, east of the Cascades where it almost never rains, there's a special place called the Metolius. It's between Black Butte and Three Finger Jack. People come from all over the country to see the giant old-growth ponderosa pines. These old trees are called yellow bellies. Yellow bellies because their bark turns this color when they get older than, say,
I think I lost audio. And Kaylin.
there's a trail that runs alongside Jack Creek. It used to be an old wagon trail. You can see a strange mix of dryland pine and wetland fir there.
Kaylin. We can't hear you.
Oh,
And actually, if you don't mind, Caitlin, I might steal it from you and just
We went to Jack Creek because we heard some of the.
go back to the. Caitlin?
all right.
Can
Well,
you hear
I can hear you. That did not work as well as we planned, but that's okay.
That's okay. Actually, I would love to share what's going on with the auction.
Okay, take us out.
We got 4 minutes left.
I'm going to put this
Alright.
link in the chat to anyone who wants to watch the Metolius postcard.
It is a great video. All right. This is where we're at. Once I get my screen, I'll figure it out. Oh, Quinn with a high bid on the dinner and wine. An evening at Ariana with a very nice bottle of wine. Nice, Quinn. Is anyone going to beat her? That's the question. We also got a couple other items here. This is really cool. There's like a good mix going on. Let's see, Paint and Metolius. Jesse got the top bid now for this. And let's see what that looks like. Ooh, they've been neck and neck. Jim G and Jesse Rosenzweig. Who's gonna win this? We're at 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Do we have like a countdown music going for this?
You could find some.
Hey, Covey,
Yeah,
what's the update on the painting?
let's check out the painting. That's a good question. I haven't seen it on the bidding screen, but I may have missed it. It was just moving really fast. Ooh, 3,100. Any guesses? Any guesses? Christy Payne. Oh, this is gonna be so close. We should have taken some bets on this. Who's gonna win between these two? I don't know. There's still 2 minutes and 8 seconds. That's time for at least like 3 bids back and forth if they really wanted to go at it. What's the other one that was big, Ben? What was the other one that was neck and neck?
Yeah, the Pine Mountain Observatory.
Oh yes.
On energy.
I need to keep these open.
Gapping
There they are.
Jim G with a $10 incremental increase. Believe there.
Okay, let's see if I can. 12.10. You're right. Ooh.
I will
Also
also,
energy.
I'll also add, I know people have bought some raffle tickets. We'll raffle these off after this event and let everyone know who wins.
Yeah.
I think we got 1 minute left. I think someone could buy another raffle ticket because I think right now people's odds are pretty high of winning.
Yes, the raffles are still available. $10 a pop. Okay, let's see. Make sure this is refreshing. I really want to see the painting. Christy Payne is still there.
Ooh, 46 seconds.
Oh God. Is New Sun Energy gonna sneak in there?
Oof.
Or is Jim G gonna sneak in there? I feel like these are two to watch. Too many tabs. I don't even know which one to look at right now.
I chose to get back.
Ooh, is it done? What are we? I can't see the time. Someone tell me when we're done.
We're at 6:59. Where we got to be within about 10 seconds here.
11 seconds.
Oh, 10, 9, 8, 7. I can't see the time.
3, 2, 1. Auctions are done.
Boom.
That concludes this evening's silent auction.
Oh my God.
Well, yeah, this has been incredible. And just to summarize it all with one giant number, thanks to all of you, your contributions and your generosity. As a result of all of that, Landwatch was able to raise $12,235 tonight, which is an incredible sum. Again, we can't thank our community partners enough and all of you for your generous financial support through this auction. Covey, Caitlin, any closing remarks? Just a lot of gratitude.
Yeah, this was our first virtual auction and I think it went pretty well. So thanks to everyone for participating and to all the businesses and folks that supported.
Yeah. Can't thank this community enough for all the support. Where our hearts are filled, incredibly grateful. On behalf of the whole team here, staff, board, community of supporters, thank you and good night.